She was the only woman in Iran's modern history to be crowned as empress. In a region where tradition often dictated that power belonged solely to men, she ascended steps that no woman had climbed before her. But her rise happened during a time when women in Iran still faced major restrictions, creating a paradox that the world could not look away from. She was a symbol of progress to some and a symbol of excess to others. So who was Farrah Pahlavi? And why did millions of people gather in the streets and millions more tune in through television to watch her coronation? From the glittering halls of the Golestan Palace to the cold reality of exile, her life reads like a script written by destiny itself. But before the revolution that changed everything, there was the moment the crown touched her head. This story matters because it is not just about a royal family. It is a snapshot of a civilization at a crossroads. Farrah Pahlavi represents a specific, fleeting moment in the 20th century when the Middle East was rapidly modernizing and the role of women was being radically redefined. Her story is historically significant because she wasn't just a consort standing in the shadow of the king. She was given actual political power, designated as regent, something unheard of in the Persian monarchy. Looking back at the life of the Shabanu of Iran offers a fascinating, complex, and tragic lens through which to view the present. This is a story where fairy tale romance collides with the hard, sharp edges of revolution. Before the diamonds and the titles, she was simply Farrah. Born in Tehran in 1938 to an upper-class family, her life was struck by tragedy early on when her father passed away when she was only 10. This loss shaped her resilience. She wasn't raised inside the palace walls. She was raised with a focus on education and culture. This drive led her to Paris, France, a city that would imprint its artistic soul upon her. She was studying architecture at the École Spéciale d'Architecture, living the life of a typical ambitious student. She wore jeans, debated philosophy in cafes, and dreamed of building structures, not ruling nations. It was this background that made her distinct. She wasn't a sheltered aristocrat. She was a modern woman with a distinctly European education and a Persian heart. It was in Paris, at a reception at the Iranian embassy in 1959, that her path crossed with Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the Shah of Iran. The Shah had been married twice before. He was in desperate need of a male heir to secure the Pahlavi dynasty, but he was also looking for someone who could stand beside him as a partner in his vision for a westernized Iran. He saw in Farah not just beauty, but intelligence and a spark of modernity. The transformation from architecture student to queen happened at breakneck speed. The engagement was announced, and the world was suddenly fascinated by this young, stylish woman. The public reaction was a mix of curiosity and hope. For many Iranians, she represented a bridge between the traditional past and the modern future the Shah was promising. When they married in December 1959, Farrah was only 21 years old. She stepped into a world of immense protocol, scrutiny, and pressure. Her primary duty, in the eyes of the court, was to produce a crown prince. She delivered on this expectation quickly, giving birth to Crown Prince Reza the following year. Farrah wanted more than to be the heir's mother. She developed her own character. She did more than cut ribbons. She focused on art, culture, and people's well-being. The rise of her authority would culminate to a time of extraordinary history. She visited the poorest parts of Iran, shaking hands with people who had never seen a royal, let alone a woman of such prominence. 1967 arrived. The Shah chose to crown himself emperor, shocking the conservative elite. He also chose to crown his wife. History was made in the Golestan Palace Grand Hall on October 26, 1967. The coronation was a magnificent event to announce Iran's global power. While the Shah was the main attraction, Farrah was also. A lengthy velvet train accompanied her white gown adorned with silver thread and pearls as she entered the hall. Symbolism energized the moment. The Shah put on her Van Cleef and Arpels designed crown with 1,469 diamonds, 36 emeralds, 34 rubies, and 105 pearls. She became Shabanu, or empress thereupon. Additionally, she was named regent, allowing her to rule if the Shah died before the crown prince was old enough. The Iranian monarchy had never granted a woman such power. It made a huge message about Iranian women's future. Farrah Pahlavi sparked a cultural revival as empress. She worked from the throne. Her effect was greatest in arts and social welfare. Warhol, Pollock, and Picasso paintings were in her billion-dollar Tehran Museum of Contemporary Art, which she built. Iran should unite culturally and economically, she said. Her efforts exceeded high culture. She hugged leper patients to destigmatize the sickness, a gesture shown nationwide that displayed remarkable compassion for royalty. She championed literacy and health corps, sending young Iranians into villages to teach and heal. She supported legal reforms expanding women's rights in marriage and divorce. For a decade, she became the human face of the monarchy. Despite this, stress was starting to rise beneath this golden age. The process of modernization was too rapid for some people and too slow for others. By suppressing political dissent, the Shah's secret police were able to deepen the gap between the rich and the poor. At this point, the promise of the great civilization started to fall apart. At the end of the 1970s, the streets that had traditionally been used to celebrate the coronation were now filled with demonstrators demanding the overthrow of the Shah. There was a transition from a majestic atmosphere to one of siege in the palace. During this time, Farah witnessed the nation's turn against her family. During the revolution, not only did the Pahlavis reject the monarchy, but they also rejected the westernized way of life that they signified. They had no choice but to leave Iran by January 1979. A terrible video was taken of Farah and the Shah boarding the plane at Mehrabad Airport. Although she appeared calm, her eyes betrayed that she was in a state of complete and utter grief. Leaving a castle was not the only thing they were doing. They were leaving their entire universe behind. They became nomads as a result of their exile. In order to avoid the revolutionary administration, nations that had previously courted them have now distanced themselves from it. From Egypt, they relocated to Morocco, then to the Bahamas, and finally to Mexico. The Shah was dying of cancer at the same time, a long-kept secret that added a human tragedy to the political catastrophe that was taking place. Farah was left to supervise her family and whatever remained of the monarchist movement after he passed away in Egypt in the year 1980. She confronted the prospect of exile with a calm dignity, refusing to give in to the pressure of the loss she had suffered. The legacy of Farah Pahlavi is still up for discussion. A significant number of people who are part of the Iranian diaspora and those who are critical of the regime that succeeded the monarchy consider her to be the mother of Iran, representing a period of cultural openness that has since been lost. Among young Iranians who were not alive at that era, there are clips of her coronation and travels to villages that are circulating. These young Iranians gaze at her beauty and advocacy and wonder what might have been. However, historians also refer to the excesses of the time period, the disconnect between the palace and the people, and everything else that contributed to the revolution. Even her detractors acknowledge that she has a genuine affection for Iranian culture. In a way that has not been reproduced since, she managed to conserve Iran's tradition while simultaneously introducing modern art. In the end, she made her permanent home in both the United States and Paris, and she frequently referred to her native land while holding the title of empress without a throne. Her narrative demonstrates that palaces can be taken over, but influence is something that is ingrained in the memory of a people. Her path, which began as a student of architecture and ended with her being a widow living in exile, is a reflection of the turbulent 20th century. It was a crown of memories that the woman who had previously worn a crown of diamonds eventually came to wear. Her position in history is unquestionable, regardless of whether she is regarded as a tragic heroine or a symbol of a dysfunctional administration. She was the first empress of Iran and was instrumental in the transformation of a nation throughout her regime. If you found this in-depth exploration of royal history to be enjoyable, don't forget to subscribe. The annals of history are replete with tales that are now just waiting to be recounted.